So one of the areas that I've grown in, and are one of the areas that has allowed me to grow, is 100% social media. And even though our efforts have not been necessarily, hi there, our efforts have not been necessarily on let's build a large audience. Our efforts have been 100% on let's build engagement. There are two parts when it comes to social media, and the reason why I'm just going to talk about it, and not that this is not a social media section of our conversation, but what's important is that we talked a little bit about marketing, grassroots, and doing things that allow us to be in 100% control of ourselves, 100% control of our time, 100% control of what's happening. Now, I'm going to ask you to take a real moment with me and head to, let's see, it's called Let's Check In, okay? It's a page that looks just like this, and really and truly, it's a question of what are you doing, in what area, to tell your story. Because if we really believe that connection is currency, and the more and deeper and harder we connect, the easier it is for us to build our business, right? Just in simple terms. Whether you're looking to scale online completely, whether you're going to have a hybrid of both, or for right now, you're going to be running your revenue offline. It doesn't change the fact that we attract the kind of client, customer, prospect that we want simply by telling our story. And we tell it in different fashions. I tell it sometimes through video. It might be a long video on Facebook and a short video on Instagram. It might be a long video on Facebook and LinkedIn and a cut version of that video on YouTube. It doesn't change the fact that whether my story is video, text, post, image, or visual, meaning a quote from me or a picture of me spending time with some of our family, social media allows me in an instant to not just tell my story once, but to tell my story consistently and to have people follow along with me. Now, here's what's really important about this sheet and why I'm going to ask you really quickly to grade yourself. Because it's one of those things where I'm telling you, here are the 1, 2, 3, here are the 6 areas that we tell our story on a regular basis. And the goal necessarily is not to hit all areas all the time, but it's to ask yourself a question, which is, how often am I telling my story? Do I have a place currently to tell my story? Is there a place for me to tell my story without me walking up to each and every person? Without me having one-on-one conversations all the time? Is there somewhere out there where other people can be a part of my story while I am sleeping? While I am, taking a walk with a friend, while I am here at a business event learning and connecting with other people. So this is a great sheet. I'm going to ask you to be really truthful. Give yourself a point for every area of your life, every area of your world or your business where you really and truly, you say, yep, boom, we are telling our story here.
Consistently. Yeah, is it more than a one-off?
Well, so I'm going to talk to the different elements of each part of social media, but let's say Facebook. So Facebook is not a static environment, which means Facebook is driven by what? Who knows what Facebook is driven by? Algorithms, but let's go to the English version.
Like, comments.
Which is called a feed. Okay? So a feed, in theory, outside of an ad, just organically posting, organically commenting, organically sharing, it's all driven, yes, by an algorithm in the background, but at the end of the day, when you and I open it, it's a feed. And I could post something right now. Part of you in the room will see it. Part of you in the room will not see it. And the reason why is because some of you don't go on social media every day. Some of you go on social media a couple times a week. Some of you only go on social media a couple times a month. Which means that, yes, it's a feed, but because it is a feed, I can't just tell my story once. I have to feed it into the feed on a regular basis. Does that make sense? Because that's the way that platform is driven. Is everybody understand what I just said? Okay? Which means I cannot get away with just telling my story once. I cannot just one day decide, this is a Saturday, I'm going to do a dynamic post, and now the whole world will know. No, it's just not going to work like that. Okay, it's just not going to happen. So what's important is that we understand that it's a consistent approach to feeding your content, your story, who you are, into that environment.